Welcome back to another playoff interviews. Today I have Pawn Sacrifice Arknights, the legendary coach Kiri, and the ADC Theramon. What's up, guys?
Uh, there's just how's it going?
How you doing today, Kiri?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm all right. I'm all right. You guys are my last interview before I do the 1 and 2 seeds, so winding down. The season's winding down. So first and foremost, like any other interview in duo history, I want to know a little bit more about you guys. Thamon, what kind of hobbies do you have outside of the game? What other games do you play? And if there's a small story about how this iteration of Pawn Sacrifice came about, I'd like to hear that as well.
Okay. Other than League, I played just about anything. I've estimated I've put like 50,000 plus hours into video games. So I play a lot of stuff. I'll play typically RPGs are my main genre though.
Okay.
Right now I'm playing Final Fantasy 14. Um, as for PSA coming about, I don't know all too much about that. It was already kind of about with Bodavidas and Malay when I was coming into the scene with them.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Kiri? What do you like outside of the game or hobbies? I know you're probably in college or high school. I think college, right?
Yeah, I'm in college right now. A lot of the games that I play are just things outside of League that I do. I watch a lot of Valorant. I tend to watch a lot of professional Valorant. I play it here and there. Play Apex, mainly like first-person shooter games at the moment. Final Fantasy here and there. I'm not too into it compared to Thamon is, but overall, that's how it is. In terms of the PSA roster, I had not known about them until Damon had joined the team because he and I are basically best friends, and so as a result, I just offered, "Hey, like, is your team down to have a coach? And if so, just let them know about me."
Oh, okay. Okay. And how long have you been the coach of PSA?
I think roughly, sorry about that. 1.5 years
Okay.
roughly. I think since season 9 of Duo, and then this year, and then the last season before that. So I think around 1.5 years.
How many championships with you as the coach?
I think only one, which was the one when I first came in, and I think transformed the team from like a lower seed into winning the championship.
Okay, okay. Uh, Speaking of playoffs and championship history, you guys are facing Eden in bracket one, or excuse me, game one or game two rather. Damn. Uh, and this is a double elim bracket. Are you guys excited about the double elim, or is it you not too much? You're just going to do the same thing you always do? Are we prepping the same way this year?
Uh, I personally haven't paid much attention to it being double elim. It's something I like process, but beyond that, it's just been okay. Let's just play some good old league, just as usual.
What about you, Kiri? Thinking of the potential teams that you could play, right? So with this style, you realistically could play any team at any given point, right? Uh, and in our other brackets, you would be able to dodge certain teams. So how do you feel about the double elim?
I personally like the double elim because in previous seasons, it's like if you show up poorly that day, you're kind of just done. Like there's no second chance. There's no possibility for you to learn and just like readjust as you go on. I think in terms of Arknights, it's beneficial for us because we get stronger every loss that we get. I get more information on the teams, and as a result, I can make better plans for the teams. Um, Overall, it's just a better experience. There's no specific strategy going into the double bracket. Like, there's no teams we want to dodge per se. We're just gonna go in. If we get knocked down to lower brackets, doesn't really matter. We'll just move on.
Okay, okay. So with your first matchup being Eden Cherry Blossom, how do you feel that PSA matches up versus Eden, especially in your specific role, Thamon?
My specific role.
Yeah, but well,
Uh,
I'm sorry. I want to elaborate on that question because as far as Eden goes, a lot of people think that Major is their best player and that he is definitely the carry on that team. And so I'm wondering how you view Eden matchup dependent on you, right? Do you think you and Malay can easily shut him down to get him out of that carry role? And does it look the same as the best of ones this season? Does it are you guys just going? I think you guys beat them pretty handily both times.
yeah. So I am the worst person to think about stuff like that. Not because I can't, but because I forget instantly. Like I'm just here to play League, so as time goes on, I go on to the next game. People are just like, remember when that happened? No, not the slightest. But I believe we handled them fairly well before. I don't really see what that would change, especially in a uh BO3. Yeah,
Right.
BO3 scenario. So because PSA historically, we tend to do better than longer sets.
Okay. What about you, Kerry? How do you view Eden in a best of three? And are there any matchups that Eden has the potential to actually take a game off of you
I
if they
think
get ahead?
that I think that Eden, if they do get ahead, they might have the possibility. I'm not coming at them expecting them to be like pushovers or anything. I treat every team with as much respect as possible. They're probably not going to take a game off of us realistically if I play my cards right. But there's always a Curie moment in draft where I will always be like, guys, I fucked up. I'm so sorry, guys. Have a good luck. Good luck in your game. You know, if you win, great job.
Okay, okay. So I'm sure both of you have PSA taking the win over Eden. It sounds like that. In the TD Lunar versus DOV Chaos game, I know you said you don't really remember a lot of people. Hopefully, you can give us some thoughts about who you think is going to win that series. Damon.
Uh,
So TD
which
Lunar,
one?
I can remind you, TD Lunar is they have the new guy from New World Esports Jupiter, Odario, and someone
Odara.
else, and they were looking like a pretty mid pack team. And then they, with those two additions, they've actually lost 4 bans for the rest of playoffs. So they only get 1 ban per game, but they're looking a lot stronger with their new roster. They have Infarnosk as well.
Furnace. I've never heard of that name. Um, I personally probably lean towards TD Lunar winning. DOV, we had a couple of rough games against them, but Odaro impressed me a little bit. I won't lie.
Okay.
That's about where it ends there for me because ADC player. I only pay attention to bot lane.
What about you, Kiri?
I think that TD Lunar's new roster, even without the bans, it's certainly a stronger iteration of the roster where I think that there are times where a team with no bans might benefit from it because a lot of things might be opened up. And I think it all depends on how they approach their strategies, knowing that the enemy team will have their champions of choice. I think individually, I think TD Lunar has a better time versus DOV because their champions just match up much better, like in terms of their champion pools. Um, Overall, I think their new top laner, Solus, I think he's really fucking good. He he should be able to handle DOV's top laner pretty handedly, and the bot lane from TD Lunar is much stronger for Fodaro, so I think it's 100% TD Lunar favored.
Okay, okay. So if that is the case, that would put you guys versus TLO, and then TD Luna versus PGM. So it's the rematch that everyone's probably, I don't know, probably the, let's just say, the older people of Duo, people who have been around for a little bit longer, especially the last 2 seasons. It's kind of been the team of the day, right? 2 seasons ago, TLO, formerly known as AGD, played PSA, got O2'd, PSA 120, and then last season, in a similar fashion, TLO won 2-0. And so it's kind of like the best of three matchup coming back. How do you guys feel about that game in particular?
TLO. It's gonna be rough. We have a couple of strats here and there, but it could very well just be a, do we actually show up for game day or are we sleeping? Um, I personally, I want to win because I want to be a Naro into the ground, but that's me.
Okay. What about you, Kiri? How do you feel about the TLO versus PSA matchup?
I, from a coaching perspective, I love TLO. Just love drafting, love everything about playing against this team. As much as it stresses me out, when something goes wrong or you guys throw a little bit of some spice in there that I'm not expecting. It's it's a fun matchup. It's a rivalry that I personally enjoy. I'm pretty sure that you guys enjoy it as well. Just having
Hmm.
somebody to just compete against and just like you don't know what's gonna happen, like which team shows up the best. Maybe we both show up and just put on a banger of a game,
Right. So actually, something interesting. Shuno's bracket. After talking with him, he actually has us meeting up in Game 9 in a best of five. Which I don't know if you guys listen to the podcast at all, but I jokingly said we should just make, if that's the case, PSA plays TLO in Game 3 or Game 4, that we should just make it best of five right then and there, because I think everybody wants to see that. The rivalry is huge. Not only I think there's some unfriendliness in that rivalry, obviously, but I think there's a lot of friendliness in it too, right? So I'm excited for that one. It's probably my most, like, the game I'm looking forward to the most. I hope you guys dumpster Eden so we can play you guys immediately. I know a lot of people are looking at PG Midas being super, being 15-1 record, right? But I personally just want to play PSA. So I'm looking forward to that. Moving on to PG versus TD Lunar in both of your brackets. Do we see the consistent PG stomp TD Lunar here? Or does the new iteration of TD Lunar actually have a chance?
Has PGM played the new TD Lunar?
They have not.
Ooh, I didn't think so. I I think it's gonna be. I think it could very well be very tough for PGM. It'll definitely be a banger of a game to watch. That much I know for sure. If I had to say who I think would win, my gut's telling me TD Lunar, but I kind of like Lyric, so I
Okay.
kind of want to vote for PGM.
Okay. What about you, Larry? Or Larry Curie? What are you thinking?
Hold on. I need to take a pause. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So from my perspective, I think that because TD Lunar has like the new players, it's certainly gonna throw PG minus for a loop if they're not aware of what they play, like what possibilities can come out of them. Because TD Lunar has very unique champion pools, and I think that Solus is better than Alchemical Singed. But they have access to Urgot, they have access to Nunu. What can you do if PG Midas has those things? They're just going to more than likely win. My gut feeling, or just everything that's telling me, is that TD Lunar might upset PG Midas if PG Midas is caught slacking. But
Oh, okay.
if since I'm friends with some of the PG Midas people, PG Midas 2-0, let's go.
Whoa, that got weird. Sorry, I had something pop up on my screen. So getting into this playoffs and going through every game is a little tedious. I generally stop here, and I want to get your guys' opinion. Who do you think makes it to the finals? Or we could even go semis. So if you're looking at these teams, well, before I ask you who makes it to finals, when you're looking at these teams, is there a specific team you think you just match up really well against? That, or is there like a certain matchup on your team that is heavily favored or not so heavily favored against any particular team? Something that you really need to plan for, or somebody that you can take advantage of?
Hmm. For semis or finals,
Well, it's just in
I,
general teams. You don't have to actually predict the semis or the finals.
oh, okay, okay. Um, Honestly, I'm a little stumped. I mean, I expect PGM, TLO make it. TD Lunar is kind of really strong with their new roster, as Kiri once pointed out, and I think we'll run EDN over. Hopefully, watch that take H ball. Um, so those would be my four guesses for semis.
Okay. What about you, Kiri? Is there a team that, since you're the strategist of PSA, I know you're going to have a long, in-depth answer about what team you match up well against and what team you don't. What are your thoughts? I would go as far as for you to say individual matchups.
Individual matchups, I'm sorry to say, but any team of PSA where we have Mr. Vitus coming in, I think we will struggle against every single team if we have Mr. Vitus. No, I'm playing. I'm kidding. Um, I think stylistically, the team I do want to, I think we have the best shot against is actually PG Midas. I think if they meet us anywhere, they might get, they might get destroyed.
Oh, that's a bold claim. That's probably everyone's last option, right? I don't think anybody, if you ask them that question in the playoffs, says that team outside of you guys. So that's great to hear. I like the competitiveness. What particular matchup do you think? I know you said stylistically, but is there like a certain lane that you guys can just take over against them that you feel like you're way stronger, or like the 2v2 or 3v3?
I can answer this for Thaemon, because he's probably just not even paying attention to things like that. Um, Against PG Midas, I don't think it would necessarily come down to like the player skills because I think that both of our teams have our strengths and weaknesses in terms of like just like the player. Sometimes we might have like a weaker player in a certain role in comparison to them. I think we're pretty well matched in the solo lanes and maybe the junglers. I think the junglers would be the biggest like indicator of what happens. But I think in terms of drafting, I think that's where we get the edge over them
Okay,
because I I think that we can formulate ways to beat their drafts.
great. Well, I look forward to that one if that's a game that happens. So, finals prediction. Last two teams. Who's going to make it all the way through? And can I get a score for the record? 3-2, 3-1, 3-0, whatever. And who will win?
Ooh. Uh, just because I think it would be funny. I wanna see TD Luna make it to the end versus I don't know. We'll say you guys. We'll play TLO,
Oh,
and it'll be 3-2. I don't know in whose favor, but 3-2.
what about you, Kiri? By the way, Thavon, that's a strong prediction. What about you, Kiri? How do you feel about the finals and who will take the victory?
I think there will it's really hard because I think all of the top four can make it. I'm sorry, DOV. I'm sorry, Eden. You're not making it. But it can be a toss up of like PGM versus TLO rematch. It could be T Lunar even versus us if somehow we all make it through. Um, I think the highest likeliness is PG Midas versus TLO. I would say 3-1 PGM.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. By the way, you guys are the only people to not pick your own team. Everybody else is riding the high horse, and even Eden and TDL, they're talking about. I think actually TDL said them versus you guys, and then Eden said them versus PG. So it's very interesting. Appreciate the realistic approach to it. I will save my opinion for our interview. But you guys got any last remarks to anyone in the playoffs or anything to the duo community before we get out of this playoff interview?
Free Spike from his work schedule. Other than that,
What about you, Kiri? Any remarks to anyone else?
Um, Pretty much the same thing. I hope that Damon's intern does not cut out versus TLO for the third time. I hope that Spike's workplace does not come at him. I hope that Mr. Vitus does not come back. I'm kidding. I love the man so much, but sometimes I just want to win.
I understand
um,
that.
I'm gonna shout out a few players that I think that need a little bit of some recognition. I think that I would like to give a shout out to Cirrus from PGM. Great work. You're doing a great job, man. I think that you guys can make it as long as you're leading your team the right way. For TLO, Banana, I want him to play well. Like, he looks really uncomfortable in my opinion, but who knows? Who knows what shows up on playoffs? Playoffs Banana is really scary, so who the fuck knows?
You never know. You
And
might get him top lane on his famous GP one game.
yeah. And then for DOV, I don't wish you guys anything. You guys, we hate you guys. We hate your Vel'Koz. We hate everything about you guys. We hope that we never meet you and you guys get knocked out early.
Okay, strong words. Hey, at least you know who you don't match up well against, I guess. Well, guys, I appreciate the time, the interview. It's a pleasure, as always, to do these interviews, especially with a friendly rival. So thank you again for your time.
I don't know.
Yeah, thank
It
you
was
very much.
Yeah,
it was great to be here, man.
appreciate it.